Okay, so it's recording. So in this interview, I'm going to be asking you some general questions about your name, your country, and where you normally travel to. I will also ask you some general questions about tourism and experience in other countries or places that you have traveled to. And then I'm going to propose our solution, the proof of concept that we have designed, and then I'm going to ask you another couple of questions about this, and then I will hear your feedback or any recommendations that you want to add. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So yeah, for the record, my name is Anti. Let's say my age is 29. I'm currently a full-time student. I'm based in London. I've lived here for 14 years in the UK, about 11 in London. Prior to that, I lived in the US for 6 years, and before that, I grew up in Indonesia.
Wow. Nice. So you are traveling a lot.
and also I had like a 1-year stint living in Denmark for a work assignment. So yeah, and I do travel a lot. Obviously not in 2020, but normally, like, just to give 2019, for example, I think on average I traveled once a month. A combination of my own travel and work, because I work in a global team at the time. So yeah, for work I travel to Germany, Asia, like to Singapore, other European countries. And for my own travel, it varies from time to time. Usually I travel once a year to Indonesia. That's where my family is. And then like another big trip for myself. Country is usually different from year to year. And then like maybe in the UK we have sometimes that we have long weekends. Yeah. So I tend to use that for like shorter distance travel, like different destinations in Europe usually.
Excellent, fantastic. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about traveling. Normally, where do you like to travel? Who do you travel with? What do you want to do when you are traveling to this place or the places that you are going to?
Well, I used to travel a lot with my ex, because we both love traveling. But in 2019, I mostly like travel by myself. And I actually quite enjoy traveling by myself too, like for the big freedom of it. And I think I like, I don't know if you would call me adventurous, but my travel in 2019, for example, I went on a couple of hiking trips, and I went on my own. And for me, it was relaxing. Because I could just like walk on my own pace. But I also, like, my last travel was actually to Barcelona. This was in March 2020. And because it was my third time in Barcelona already, so I felt like usually when I went to a place, if it's my first time, I usually would, like, my travel itinerary would be a little bit more common, like it's the big attractions, like it's the places everybody goes. But I really like my trip to Barcelona last time, because I felt like I just want to, like, explore like a local. So I did revisit some places, but I also tried to just take it easy, like pay more attention to ordinary like neighborhood, just enjoy the scene of the city rather than trying to, oh, I need to go here. Like, it was a combination of both.
Fantastic. Okay, what makes your travel successful?
For me, I think I travel to explore. So I think like I have like a lot of satisfaction from encountering new things. Meeting new people, learning something about the culture. I love food. I love eating, like many other Asians.
Everyone, it's one of my favorite things to do when traveling is try the traditional culture and the traditional food of each country.
Yeah, and And the two are often intertwined. Like in many countries, food is such a big part of the culture.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So not just what you eat, but with Spain especially, I think it's also how you eat. Because here in the UK, you know, especially when I was working in an office, like it's a pretty clockwork schedule, right? Like you have like your like small breakfast early, like maybe you had like a little break late morning, and then you have lunch at around like 12:30-ish for me. And then you have dinner at 7, something like that. In Spain, it's very different. I actually eat 4 times usually when I travel in Spain. So, like, you know the schedule, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. I completely understand.
It,
Okay.
yeah, it just makes it easier because like it's when the eating places are open.
Okay. So, what frustrates you about your travel? What makes you angry? What disturb? What interrupts like the traveling mood or the passions in the travel?
Well, I think knock wood. Actually, it hasn't happened, but I think like my concern, especially when I travel alone, is safety, because you know I'm a tiny woman.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I pay attention to where I stay. For example, I want to make sure it's a safe neighborhood, and when I hike on my own, but this is like common security thing you do. Like I always let somebody know where I travel and where I stay. I give somebody my schedule, especially when I go into, say, like the forest, you know, like going into the wilderness. Like you need to let the people know, like the people you just left, the accommodation you just left, and the one who's expecting you. So if you're lost, somebody will be looking for you.
Exactly. Good. Do you normally struggle when organizing a trip?
No, I'm pretty good at it.
Alright.
I like organizing my own travels, like booking my own, and I know like I have like a certain websites that I use, like that I prefer. So usually the way I plan it, like usually I'm quite exact and planning the travel, like to reach the destination. And to go from one place to another. I just don't want any surprises. I want everything planned. However, when I arrive in one place, I usually plan my day in broad brush. So I don't like plan in detail. I just like roughly, and I usually organize by area.
Okay.
It's just like a much more efficient way of organizing. I know, like I think like newbie tourists, like they, oh, here's like the list of things we need to see, and then they go from one place to another. No, I usually I take a neighborhood or a region. I want to explore this area. I see what's interesting in there. Yeah.
Amazing. Fantastic. And normally, how many times a year do you go on trips? Like an average?
You mean
Yeah. How many trips do you have approximately?
without pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So, assuming I can travel freely, I 2 big trips, one for family, one for myself, and then like maybe 3 to 4, you know, like smaller trips, either domestic here in the UK or somewhere near.
About 6 trips a year.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, when you start to plan your trip, what criteria are very important to you to decide the places that you want to visit? How do you select the places, or how do you select the attractions?
Like, you mean like how do I select the country, or like if I'm selecting the country, I have a bucket list?
Yeah, no, it's not selecting the country. You are already planning to visit Barcelona, for example, but you know that you are going to arrive in this day, and you start to plan. I'm going to go to this place, and then to this place, and this place. what success criteria do you use to choose these places? Like, what
like
makes you decide?
So usually, as I mentioned before, I tend to organize the itinerary by area, by neighborhood. Like usually I notice, especially if you go to a city, let's just talk about the city destination, because like I think the profile is very different versus the way I plan is very different versus planning a hiking trip, for example. So it's a bit of an iterative process. So I usually look at the neighborhoods. Okay, let's say west of the city, what can I find there? Like what's interesting? And I would find like a few spots that I like, and then I started planning. Oh, maybe I should go to here first, and then like next point B, point C. Now in terms of what I want to see, I don't filter to a certain category up front, so to speak. But I think like usually what I want to keep a watch on is like I'm usually interested in museum, like buildings with interesting architectural features. I'm into architecture, and I'm into arts. And of course, like I don't usually chase a particular restaurant. I know people who do that, like they want to tick a restaurant off the list. I'm not like that. But I try to find what's... Oh, are you still there? Or are we stuck? Can you still hear me? Shahada? Hang on, Shahada. Yeah, I think like it was like you froze a little bit, so I'm going to repeat just in case the recording didn't also like pause. So usually my approach, look at the neighborhood. Let's say in Barcelona, I want to, let me visit like Gracia neighborhood and around. Then I would start looking, okay, what's interesting in the neighborhood, like pick a few spots. And then I would, start planning. Oh, maybe I go to this place, and then from there. Also, I really like walking, so I tend to walk everywhere. When I was in Barcelona last time, I walk everywhere. I probably walk about like 20 kilometers a day. But I really love Barcelona. It's you get to see a lot. I feel you see more when you walk, because you are not fast, like you're slow. So you get to notice like the little things. And I'm usually, what I usually pick as an interesting spot is either like buildings with architectural importance or architectural features, museums, or just like cultural attractions usually.
Fantastic. And do you use any tools to manage your activities during the trip?
So in terms of selecting, so try to judge, because like we're always limited in time, right? So you need to like have sort of like a guess on like these are the attractions worth visiting. I used to use TripAdvisor, but no longer. I think like it's like the reviews weren't discriminating, and I suspect like people put in fake reviews, and then Google Maps got so much better at so now I use Google Maps for planning, because it's so easy to look at the maps, like what are the spots of importance. I would save that into my Google Map account, and I just check out the...
So you manage it from there. Fantastic. Okay, and last question before we go to the proof of concepts. Have you ever heard about sustainable tourism, or do you have an idea about it?
Yes, I can't say I understand deeply the concept. I've heard it mentioned. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and show you here. Okay. So the idea of our project is that Barcelona is one of the most famous cities in the world, and it has a very high pressure of tourists during the the year, whether in the winter or in the summer. It has different kind of activities in each season. So the government started to realize that there is a very high pressure from the tourists that is causing and that's having a negative impact on the environment and on the social perspective. So we are here developing a solution in order to try to control the tourist movements in the city in order to decompress the pressure in certain neighborhoods and to distribute it evenly in some other neighborhoods. Of course, the country is not aiming to stop the tourism because it's one of the main source of economics. So this solution is going to improve the tourism in order to make it more sustainable. So what we are planning to do here is we are going to develop an app that is going to do a recommendation for the tourist who is going to visit Barcelona city, for example. The user or the customer is going to put his information and he's going to set the destination, and then he is going to see the attractions. Now, some people are willingly or planning to go to the most famous attractions. Like you said, some people, they come to the place just to see some certain places. They don't want to see other recommendation or other attractions. So they can still access this in the application. They can still go to, for example, Sagrada Familia. It's one of the most famous churches in Barcelona. But when they search in the application about this location, we are going to display it. But at the same time, we are going to display a recommendation for other attractions that are very similar to Sagrada Familia. And if you can see here under the picture, there are like, let me zoom in.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet.
I'm sharing. I don't know if you.
No, I cannot see. I just see your initial.
Let me share again. I was explaining on the. Okay, share. Do you see it now?
No, I don't think I'm seeing what you want to show me.
All right, I will.
In window, desktop, like which screen?
Do you see it now?
I'm only seeing your initial in there, but I'm not. I can see you are presenting, but somehow it's not appearing. Like maybe yours. Do you have two screens or something?
No, I have only one screen.
That's
really weird.
Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing. Maybe like are you showing me like a prototype or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't see that prototype.
You are prototype in Miro. I don't know if you can see it.
No, not really. Maybe like try to share, but like a different window this time, or like.
This is what I did. I tried to share it in a different window, and I tried to share it in a screen.
Or a desktop even, or.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Okay, I'm going to go near to the internet, the Wi-Fi, I think, because there is I'm quite far from that. I'm not so sure this is.
If you want, like, let's see if we both turn off our video.
Okay, I will do it.
And maybe refresh the sharing or reshare.
Can you see it now?
No, still no. If you want, like, invite me to the link, I'll go there.
Okay, I will send you the link.
So.
Can you see it, the link?
Yes, now I can like, well, let me see if I can share and if you can see my screen. Hang on.
Okay.
Can you see the screen I'm sharing?
No. I can see the Teams screen, but I cannot see what you are sharing.
Okay, I think, oh, wait a sec. Shahada, do you have like Team on desktop or are you on the web application?
It's on desktop.
Huh. Anyways, I can see it on Miro's, but I think there's no point. There's something weird. We can't see each other's screen, but I can see, yes, your Miro.
Okay, so if you can see the Miro, here you can see the prototype of the application. And as you can see here in the first page or in the first tab, you put your information and then you put the destination that you are going to go to. And then you can search for the attraction that you want to visit. After that, the recommendation is going to appear to you. And I don't know if you can see, for example, in Sagrada La Familia, there is one picture, and in the top, on the bottom corner, there is like 150 XP points with the green.
Hang on. Where is the XP? Oh, yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, for example, this is a recommendation that we are going to give to the tourist or the customer. And if the customer selects to go to this place, he's going to take 150. But, for example, Sagrada La Familia is a very famous place. It's going to be very crowded. So, therefore, we are going to recommend him or recommend her a different kind of places with a different winning points. If you can see in the second page or the next page, the points are doubled. He's going to take 300 points instead of 150. So if the tourist decided to select this recommendation and follow our recommendation, he's going to have these points, and these points are going to be recorded in his profile. After completing a certain type of activities, for going to many places, now he has a wallet, and the wallet has an amount of points, and these points can be exchanged for or can be redeemed for a gift or a voucher or a coupon or a coffee in a place or a meal in some restaurants. Depends on the partnerships that we are going to make. And by this, we are going to do a little bit of we are going to put a gaming touch in the app where people can play games and follow the recommendations, and at the same time they are going to have the same experience. They are going to enjoy the place. They are going to see if someone's going for the architecture, they can see the very nice architecture buildings and have the exact experience as the desired places at the beginning. So basically this is the idea in general. So I'm going to go with the next set of questions regarding the proposed solution. So what do you think about this proposal or this prototype? Do you think it's going to improve your experience in traveling?
Well, I like the idea because I think, like, especially if it's a place I've visited before, I want to explore, like other places I haven't been. And I think I like the idea of like giving like the less popular place like a higher, so it's like inversely proportional, like like the off the beaten track.
Yeah.
Have you read any of the DK guidebook? I think nobody uses guidebook anymore. I sometimes borrow them from the library, but they always have a section in the back. So they always have like, okay, here's like the main attractions, but they always have a section in the back off the beaten path. So it gives an alternative, some other interesting things that maybe it's a little bit further from the city center. But yeah, I think like you're incentivizing for people to go to the less popular place, and I like that. However, I think for me, like what's probably missing for me, like usually when you are searching for a place to visit, you're not familiar with the city. If you
Yeah.
search, it implies that you already know what you want to find. But I think like it's more common, or at least like give an option to browse, you know, like maybe like browse by type of attraction or by type of place. I don't know whether this is only for attraction or also like including restaurants or things like that. But yeah, browsing categories I think will be important for a tourism app.
Okay.
And what do you mean by tour tracks?
Tour track is, for example, this is going to maximize the points. If you say plan my tour, and then the app is going to make a tour for you in the neighborhood that you are staying, because you said I like to go to the places that are near to in my neighborhood. So it's going to make a trip for you in the neighborhood. That's going to save the efforts and time for you, and will take you to the more the least popular places where you can also have the experience and enjoyment. And this track tour is going to be developed based on your preference and the places that you like and your interests.
Okay.
Because the app is going to recognize your location, and it's going to design a very easy, smooth trip in order to not to have too much difficulties during transportation and not to have an issue for crowded places. So, for example, if you are in the center of one place, it's going to take you from north to south, from the beginning to the end, in order to make it like smooth, not to go south and then go to the east and then come back to the south and then go to the north. So it's going to plan a track for you where you can move easily and have an amazing experience.
So I think, okay, these are like two different tasks. So, and I think the user journey is different. So, like I said, I tend to plan, but I plan loosely. So let's say the night before or early morning, I would scan, okay, this like broad area. And that's when I would probably do sort of like a browse a category, or I want to see all the options at once in that area, and then I would narrow down selection based on what other people say, or in this case I will take into consideration, oh, if I go here I get like more points, like so.
Yeah.
And then the second, which I think is a different journey. Sometimes what happens is you go to a place, it's not as interesting as you thought it would be, so you have like a spare time, then I want to see like what else, and that's when the local search becomes more important. So
exactly,
it's more specific, but yeah, I just want to see, and in that case I probably would care less about like the ranking or the it's more about the proximity. And yeah, right now this is a list, right? I'm assuming there will be an overlay with a map or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. If you can see on the we are going to try to integrate the Google Map and the app, but yeah, as you said, it's going to display locations that are based on your it's going to display attractions that are based on your location, like from Google. So if you are in one place, it's going to show you what's very near or what's similar to the place that you like, and then you choose.
For me it's not important though. Like I think like because like going places is not, it's not like watching movies. Like watching movies, like you want to like something similar, I think every place to me is a little unique. So so for me, like browsing the categories as a way to get similarities, okay, like I want to pick one museum from, okay, what are available. But I think not so much, I don't know, like for me, at least for me personally, recommending something that's, oh, you cannot see these attractions or what else, like I'm more open-minded.
Yeah, I completely. But what I meant is that based on your profile, the app is going to recommend the places that certainly fall into the fall into what do you like normally. For example, we know that Auntie likes museums, she likes meditation, she likes hiking, she likes beaches, she likes this, and the app is going to recommend places that are similar to them.
I see. Okay, get it.
But for example, other teenagers tends to like to go to nightclubs or bars or places that have more live things or more noisy. So the app is going to also try to recommend places that are similar to their preference.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yes, yeah, I don't need the app to propose nightclubs to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, okay. Would you be considering this kind of proposal? If, for example, if you go on a tourist and you have this kind of recommendation, will you really consider it, or will you?
Well, I volunteered because I imagine you would create something like this, and I think like so for me, what's missing? Okay, I use Google because of the convenience of, you know, like planning from a geographic point of view, and it's just convenient. Like you can save your options electronically, and it's already overlaid. So convenience. I like TripAdvisor because before it became too popular, because I think like the ratings make sense, and I think like the reviews are not prominent in this app, but because like usually reviews, like what other people say about the place, is something that I will take into consideration in deciding whether I'm going to see that or not. However, this app in particular is, for me, it is fulfilling a need that other apps don't, which is like to recommend something off the beaten path. Like I used to be annoyed with TripAdvisor because I need to be like scroll like really far in order to just like find like something like a smaller place, and
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Can you give me just a very small points or list in orders? What's the most important characteristics that you want to find in an application or a website that consult tourism?
In this context, like for me, like what I like the best is that it gives me unexpected options.
Okay.
Or at least like that's what I hope it will give me.
Okay. And another thing, will you be willing to consider the points of each attraction in your tourism or in your trips in the future? Like, are you excited when you see a place with higher amount of points that, you know, at the end of this trip you have enough points to exchange it with something that maybe you like?
It depends on what I can do with the points.
Okay.
And if you, especially for city trips, like usually people don't spend, especially European cities, people don't spend more than 3 days on average, I think. Maybe bigger cities like London or Paris, like 5 days.
Yeah.
Yes, but so you need to think about like what, as a tourist, what I will think about is whether is it worth it if I gain like 300 more points by going to this place which is a little bit further away. It may take a little bit of effort. I would feel it's going to be worth it if I can use those 300 XPs immediately. I don't know, exchange it for a cana at, you know, like a at a local tapas bar, something like that, or maybe like having the opportunity for my points to accumulate for the next trip. Maybe like it's something interesting as well.
Okay, fantastic. And based on your experience from your surrounding community, do you think people are going to like this kind of applications? Do you think people are going to use it? Do you see any advantages or disadvantages in this app?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm putting on my researcher hat.
Okay.
I think it's conjecture. Yeah, I think I wouldn't feel comfortable answering that because, like, yeah, everybody's different. But I think what I would say though, if there are other people like me who enjoy, like being a little bit adventurous, enjoy experiencing something new, something that's a bit unexpected, I think they would enjoy this as well. But I cannot say that, like my neighbors or my parents, like, I think the people who will like this kind of app and its features, I think it ties down to their psychological profile when it comes to traveling, as in like what are they looking for. Yeah.
Excellent, fantastic. That's really great. Is there anything else we haven't talked about that you would like to comment on?
No, I don't. I can't think of anything else.
I think in this case we have reached to the end of this interview.
Cool.
Thank you very much. And if you have any feedback that you would like to provide us, we are happy to hear it.
Yeah, I think like if I can think of something, but I think like it's I do like the idea, and that's why I volunteered in advance.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the best. Like, good luck.
Thank you very much. I'm going to stop recording now.